Hello friends, welcome to my tutorial on learning SAS and analytics. And today we will learn what exactly SAS is all about, what this software does, what this application does as a statistical programming language. And we will also try to cover important topics like SQL and macro. We'll just touch, we'll just touch base on certain aspects of SAS SQL and SAS macro. But in this particular lecture, we'll mostly talk about what SAS is and how the data steps are performed. We will learn about various syntaxes, how to write codes, how to what kind of syntax the language has, what are the SAS procedures that exist, the debugging techniques available in SAS. Along with that, we'll also learn about how to subset the data sets that are available in SAS. We'll also talk about sorting, merging data sets. We'll also see that how we can import spreadsheets into SAS and create data sets. And then we will touch. We will just go through, but not discuss in detail topics on SAS SQL, various procedures on how to summarize the data, how we use SAS graph to generate graphical output from our data. That includes the procedures gplot and gchart that are available in SAS. We'll also discuss what exactly is the ODS, also known as the Output Delivery System in SAS. That is how we can extract, how we can publish our reports rather in PDF and in a listing format, also known as RTF. How we can publish our reports to the web, and how we can use ODS to save and select procedure output. We'll also discuss about plotting the data with ODS graphics, and we will cover SGplot, SGpanel, and SGscatter. What these procedures are all about, we will be covering in a little amount of time. And finally, we will also touch upon the topic of SAS macros. What are the utility macros that are available within SAS, the variables, macro programs, etc. and etc. So friends, in case if you're willing to learn SAS as well as R, SPSS, so as you may already would have figured out, so SAS is a statistical programming language. It's a language which technically programmers use to manipulate, extract, display data, and also to perform various procedures that generate insights from from a typical data set that you would have. And similarly, R and SPSS are these both softwares are also SAS, are also statistical programming languages. But SAS gives you the option of, it gives many flexible options, even though I would say that R equally challenges the possibilities that exist within SAS. So I have been a statistical programmer myself for quite some time, and I have learned SAS by way of by way of statistical programming, and I have learned R as well as SPSS. And I typically find that SAS is it's a vast topic, but depending on what exactly your needs are in terms of what what you're trying to find out in a given data set. um, I think that visually, graphical outputs of SAS are better than R, and it's a personal opinion, which could differ from from person to person. So let's get started. So in front of your screen, what you are seeing is that it's a SAS window, and you have the the top panel where you would see that uh, it's a user interface, and you have options available here. Onto my left panel of the screen, you would see that we have results and an explorer tab. Basically, what you're seeing right now over here in the explorer tab is the set of libraries that are available in our to our disposal. Um, so what exactly these libraries are? Libraries are typically known as containers, and over here you would see that all these libraries are typical containers which contain data sets. So a data set is nothing but a file which SAS recognizes, and this data file or this data table contains various observations and variables. So for example, if I were to open ACT, you would find that in this library called ACT, we have these many data sets available. And so let me just quickly show you that what exactly we have. Let's say I want to open A cities, and if I double click on it, you can see that this particular data file has close to around 50 observations, 50 records, or rather I would say 50 rows of data, and you have each observation under 4 different headers or 4 different tables. I'm sorry, 4 different columns or variables. And as you can see, you have a city where airport is located is one of the variable, which happens to be a nominal variable. You have starting point, airport name, and so on and so forth. I'll just open another data table, and now you see that you have 21 rows of data where you have close to we have around 8 or 9 columns of data. And you also see that these columns have the same kind of observations going down there. You have ID, name, sex, age, date, height, weight, activity level, fee, etc. And if you see that to the left of Explorer there is a results tab. In the results tab, what we usually get to see is once we are running, once we execute the SAS statements, the results are displayed over here. You can see that this is a log window. This log window generates typical what log window does is that once you are executing the statements, it generates a log. it tells the user that if there are any errors, if there are any warnings, and it also gives you the console output. It will inform you that whether the program was executed, and typical um, typical data related information goes in this particular window during the execution time. And this is the editor window where we type in the program, and this is the output window where we see the output. So let me just show you that how this program works, and what exactly SAS is all about. So you must have figured out, and in case if not, then let me tell you that SAS has two procedures. SAS has two steps. One is the data step, and the other one is the procedure. So these two elements form the part of SAS, and then we have global options as well. So a data step is is a step where we perform data generation or extraction or manipulation of data, and there is a proc step which is also known as procedure step. So what procedure step does is that it depending on the kind of procedure you are performing on the data. So if you want to print the data, you would find you would be using proc print. If you want to do a frequency table on the data, you can use proc freq. You can also use proc tabulate to generate cross tabulation of data. You have proc means, which is part of the SAS statistical programming statement, and so on and so forth. So there are many procedures within SAS, innumerous number of procedures. And so let's start. Let's write down a typical program for ourselves. So let's say what I'm doing is I'm writing a program on how to print a particular data set. So as you can see that I have typed in data test, and then at this point of time I would like to tell you that there is a concept of a temporary library as well as a permanent library. So what you see over here is that it's all these data sets, these are under the Library Act, and this library is permanent. However, if we just go one level up, and if you see that there is a library called work, and this library is a temporary library. So once your SAS session ends, and if you are not saving it in a permanent library, so what happens is that once you're done saving the program, so the programming statements are saved, but the outputs, or the procedures, etc., they no longer exist, because if you're using work library, then it's a temporary library. However, if you reference a permanent library other than work, it stays in the tab in the memory for forever. And so work is a temporary library. All of the libraries that you're seeing on the screen are permanent libraries. So let me just quickly go to the ACT library, and what I'll do is I'm using this set statement to call the library ACT, and I'm trying to set or subset the dataset admit, and I will run, and every data step has to end with a run statement. I'll press the F8 key to run these statements. I can also click on the running man, this symbol, which will execute our statements. So let me just quickly click on it. Now I just opened log to show you that what exactly we have done. As you can see that the programming statements were submitted, and all these statements were first compiled and then executed. So during compilation stage, it is checked whether the syntax is correct, whether there are any programming statement errors, and if there are none, then the program gets executed. So you can see that it gives us a message that there were 21 observations read from the dataset app.admit. Now, where exactly would this dataset test would be, which has the 21 observations and 9 variables from the dataset admit? So, as I said, that all the if you're working on a temporary library, it goes all the that SAS data sets that you create get stored in the temporary library, and that is called the work library. So if you just double click on it, you see that there is a test. However, you can also see that there is a talent 3 data set. Now, how did I get talent 3 data set? Well, it's just if I click on help and if I go to learning SAS programming, so SAS programming, learning SAS programming, what it does is it generates some SAS data sets. So it's typical of SAS software, but in case if I were to lose this session, then talent 3 would be gone and test data set would also be gone. So now, since we have the test data set, what I'll do is I will now try to print the data set. So the syntax of which is proc print data equals to test, and what I'll do is I'll just simply run it. Now, if I click on F8, if I press F8, I see that I have the results. Now, we will be discussing on proc print elaborately in a few minutes, but this is just to let you know that in SAS you have two types of output. One is called the listing output, and another one is called the explorer output. And the right term to be used would be the browser output. So here you can see that the dataset has been printed in a very nice way, and this is the browser output of the data. And if I just close it, and if I actually open the output, you would see that there's no output here. It typically means that it has not been configured. So let me just go to this particular option, which is tools, options, and preferences. And over here you'll see that I have results, and I just click on create listing. So this option was unchecked. That's why we did not have any output. So what I'll do is I'll just run the statements once again, and now you would see that in the browser output we have the results being repeated because of the second execution of the programming statements, and we also have a listing output over here. So this is what is the SAS. This is just a preliminary session on what SAS is and what exactly is the SAS, how to run a proc print to view a data set. And I'll just briefly explain that what are the options over here available. So you see that over here in the file you can either have a new program or you can open program a SAS program to your console. So SAS program has the extension SAS 7B DAT. So all the SAS so SAS 7B DAT are the data sets, and any programs are stored with the extension .sas. So if I want to save this program, you can see that it comes up with the extension SAS. And as you can also see over here in the results tab, we have the printouts, we have the prints. The procedure print has been executed, and we have the output here. And we also have the option of importing data, which I would cover in a separate video. And we also have an option to export data. We can we can select any library, and wherever we have our target data set or the data set of our interest stored, we can export that data to to one of the typical formats. We can output the data as, we can store the data set as a CSV, MDB, etc., etc. Different formats. We can also store it as a SAV or SPSS file. The other options that you see over here, like page setup, print preview, these are pretty self-explanatory. They all print and print the data and do a page setup of the data. Similarly, the edit option over here, we have the clear. These options are pretty simple. We just click on clear or clear all to clear the console or the typical tab that we are working on. We get rid of the garbage or the pre-existing statements that are there. And here we have, as I said, that SAS consists of the editor window, the log window, as well as the output window. So anytime you click on any of the tabs, it gives us that particular, it gives us the. So, for example, if I clicked on output, it gave me the output of the data. Over here in tools, we have different options available. Much not of a use, but we typically use table editor or ODS graphics editor to sort of select a few settings and make certain changes for the desired output format. Similarly, we have a round statement. You can see we have submit top line, submit end lines, etc. We also have a remote option to log in. Well, solutions is something which we do not often use. These are the typical packages that exist within SAS, and these come with SAS by default, or you have to purchase these typical SAS add-ons. So if I click on interactive data analysis, and if I click on log, it says that import cancelled, and SAS Insight has been discontinued. It has been discontinued, beginning with SAS 9.4. So not much of a use. We have a window which tells us that how we can dial vertically or horizontally. So let's say I clicked on this, and this is how the windows got arranged. If I click on this, which is dial horizontally, then it gives us it arranges the windows like this. Similarly, there is a help option, and you can use it to view what the help and documentation and SAS on the web. You can also get to know what SAS is, where exactly and this SAS is executing, etc. So in our next video, we are going to cover more about SAS. This was just to give you a heads up of what SAS is all about, this particular video lecture. And we will now, get started and we'll try to get to know in depth and in detail how SAS works in data steps as well as SAS procedures.